love that for you. Cause
But Misa was out there. She was messing with the dude from EPMD. That's why Puff first beat her ass.
While we in it, let's talk about those stories that Misa Hilton posted about Diddy that one time she was mad at her. I'm not protecting anyone anymore, just my son. Everyone has to sit around for years and act like there isn't anything wrong with you. This is where the buck stops for me, 100. She was pissed.
It looks like we are about to see the fall of Diddy, and I am not lying to you because further and further people are starting to come out to expose his terrible geste. It has been a veritably long week for Diddy because his bad geste is eventually being exposed for the world to see. And it's crazy. However, it's about to get way worse up because her ex-girlfriend and baby, Misa Hilton, is now coming out to reveal that Diddy treated her the exact same way that he did Cassie. If all allowed that him putting hands on Cassie was horrible, indeed more. Misa is now coming out with action of her own that pledges to be more explosive than Cassie's because she's about to unmask the tea about how Diddy not only hurt her when they were together, but he also put hands on their child as well. And it looks like Diddy is eventually about to go down. Man, her beat up till she got up under the auto.
Man. Beat up till she got up under the beat up literally till she tried to run up under the car. Wow. He was reckless with his hands, you know that.
Now, in case you all missed the tea, Cassie's recent action against Diddy was the veritably first time that Diddy has been exposed on a large scale like this. I mean, sure, there have been addresses and rumors about how Diddy is a bad Joe who takes out his ops and all that stuff. But that has only been rumors since there has no way been action or indeed someone coming out to make the allegations bravely. Well, Cassie changed all of that with her explosive action that she dropped last week. She came the first person to bravely step out and expose Diddy. And here, she did Diddy hard with this action. She went into detail about how poorly Diddy used to treat her when they were together. She revealed some horrifying effects like the part where she said that he's DMs Ventura in her own home after she tried to leave him, frequently punched, demurred Ventura, performing in bruises, burst lips, black eyes, and bleeding. Forced Ventura to engage in intimate acts with manly savvies while getting off on it and rephotographing the hassles. Demanded that Ventura to carry his arm in her bag just to make her uncomfortable and demonstrate how dangerous he's, and introduced Ventura to a life of inordinate alcohol and substance abuse, needed her to land lawless conventions to satisfy his own dependencies. But that is not each, because she also went in to reveal that he also used to put hands on her a lot and evoke all the different occasions, like the time they were on their way home from attending a Jay-Z party. Miss Combs beat Ventura constantly in an escalade, including by remonstrating and hitting her. He forced her out of the vehicle on 5th Avenue in New York City. She was ultimately suitable to hail a hack to get into her apartment in Manhattan. There was also the time when Cassie spoke to a music director in a club, but dealt Diddy's authorization. And he was furious. The discussion was nothing serious, just a casual discussion in the club, but Diddy got so frenetic that when they left the club, Mr. Combs beatens Ventura, pushing her into a corner of the vehicle and stomping on her face. When the auto arrived at Combs' stone, Ventura tried to run down, but Combs followed her and progressed again to protest her in the face. Ventura was beating profusely. Home is home, where she began to throw up from the beating incident. She revealed that he frequently left her with bruises and cuts each over her body, but he was not exactly repentant for his geste, and it sounded like he was always alarmed that someone would figure out what he was doing too, so he generally prescribed her from going outdoors after he put hands on her. Rather, he'd have her stay at a fancy hostel where she wouldn't be seen by anyone, not indeed by the hostel workers. This explains why he managed to go on for times without anyone figuring out what he was doing to her. But it gets way worse because his beatings and the frequent medicines that he forced on her soon started to take a risk on her body, which is not surprising. She revealed in the action that she started to witness memory loss and had to have an MRI. When Diddy was so paranoid that the results would reveal that the memory loss was caused by commodity he did to her, so he'd the sanitarium shoot her test results directly to his dispatch which should have clearly raised many red flags. There was also the part where Cass revealed that Diddy used to force her to sleep with Joker escorts because he got off on it. He'd force her to go onto companion websites and hire black men with BBCs, and also force her to partake in what he called freak-offs that were so extreme and lasted for days indeed, though she no way wanted to do them. The action claimed that Cassie did not want to partake in the fuss, but Diddy would give her so important medicines until her resistance principally dissolved. Mr. Combs always supplied him Ventura with riotous quantities of medicines ahead, and during thefts, Ventura was given elatedness, cocaine, HB, ketamine, marijuana, and alcohol in inordinate quantities during which allowed her to separate during these terrible hassles. It came commonplace to get IV fluids in the days after Anthe to recover from the inordinate substances pushed upon her. There were lots more shocking effects that were revealed in the action. And of course, Didiana's attorneys denied the allegations. They said he vehemently denies these obnoxious and outrageous allegations. Ventura's demand of $30 million, under the trouble of writing a dangerous book about their relationship, was unequivocally rejected as blatant blackmail. Despite withdrawing her original trouble, Ventura has now resorted to filing an action riddled with unwarranted and outrageous falsehoods, aiming to blemish Combs' character and seeking a payday. But he ultimately chose to settle in just a day, and that alone made him look shamefaced ASE. He'd Cassie subscribe an ironclad NDA, and she could no longer speak on the issue. But we did not subscribe an NDA, so we can talk about it as much as we like. When it turns out Diddy's other side pieces did not subscribe an NDA moreover, and his ex-girlfriend Misa Hilton is now also speaking up and revealing that Diddy put her through the same effects that he put Cassie through. Now I am not gonna lie, I am not really indeed that surprised that Cassie is not the only woman that Diddy treated like that. Because him being that cruel could only mean that he'd done it over and over again. His side piece, Gina Hewitt, indeed revealed a couple of times ago that Diddy used to put hands on her too. In the morning, like the first 3.5 times like the first 4 months, he was really nice, but also after that, he started being an asshole. So like I say, like the first 3.5 times he was like mean to me. So when you say mean, describe it. If he was like always belittling me and always like he was like mentally, emotionally, and physically abusing me. His Century Gene has also spoken about how Diddy used to put hands on Kim Porter so poorly to the point where she eventually started fighting back and defending herself. One night when they were at home at Kim's house on 110th Street, he wanted to, put his hands on her in the wrong way. And Kim took one of those corkscrews and ripped his wrist up and hit in roadway, and when she did that, he to rush over to Luke's hospital. So with all this, it is not too wild to imagine that he has done the same thing to Misa, especially since his Century Gene has also called Diddy out for not only being horrible to her, but also manhandling their son Justin, just because he and Misa. Back in June, Misa slammed him on Instagram jotting, "I am not with none of that reality television-ish. When is enough enough? I am not guarding no bone presently, just my son and all the children. A not come to Jesus moment." The statement of fish rots from the head down means that in addition to being a major donation factor in a family association's success, leadership is the root cause of its failure and demise. The verity shall set you free. She continued, act bad boy. I used to want to be a bad girl, but I chose to be a queen tried and true. I am not perfect, but I'm purposeful. I should have kept my child with me. So this is kind of cryptic, but it was kind of sounding like Diddy was either putting hands on their son like he used to do to her, or he was using their son against her. Either way, it was commodity really meddled up, because Misa isn't really the type to chase Paul or start drama over anything. She also said everyone has to sit around the times and act like there is not anything wrong with you. This is where the buck stops form. However, God prohibit. What's anyone going to say to me when we all know whose fault it would be if anything ever happened to my son? Here, Misa was big frenetic, but again, I cannot really condemn her, especially with the exposures that she's now making. According to an bigwig, Misa is now speaking out for the first time about how Diddy treated her when they were together. She allegedly claimed that Diddy used to put hands on her and poke her around, indeed when she was pregnant with their son. The bigwig claims that Misa allegedly revealed that Diddy at her constantly when they were together. There was no citation of freak-offs, but that is presumably commodity that Diddy started nearly differently down the line. Now the thoroughfares are saying that Diddy is trying to come to agreement with Misa before she officially files in court, because he knows that his character is hanging on by a thread right now. There is no way that he'd be suitable to survive another Diddy reproach so soon after the Cassie incident. The intriguing thing about this is that it looks like several pots are apprehensive of this up-and-coming action, because they're starting to drop Diddy like a hot. Surviving P. Diddy will be intriguing. He'll regard for all his homies and his partner that failed from heart attacks and etc. The real devil is eventually going down. Lord forgive me, but I have been so tuned into a man going down. Whatever they say Diddy did, he did that-ish. Eventually. And Misa Hilton formally popped out ready to unmask on Diddy many months back. It's over to that man. All this is an insanely messy situation. But what do you guys suppose? Is Misa really going to go ahead with the action, or do you suppose that Diddy is going to manage to pay her off too? Let me know what you suppose in the commentary, and also check out this coming videotape.